Welcome, little creatures. Welcome to Lugal's world. We're going to be discussing Sophie Scholl, who was part of the White Rose, a resistance movement against the Nazis. And what was so profound is that she would distribute these anti-Nazi pamphlets in her school, and she did all of these things knowing that she would die. And she was actually beheaded by the Nazis for doing these things. And I had a dream about her once, and so that's why I wanted to do this video, to give people an idea of what these kind of Joan of Arc or martyr type people, what is in their astrology. And I encourage you, if you're fascinated by her story that I shared, please check her out, read a book about her, and watch a video. She's quite inspirational. So Isaac, tell us what's going on in her chart.
Yeah, I mean, she has an incredibly powerful, almost like a unbelievably powerful chart. When we were sort of talking about this, and then you suggested to do a video on her astrology, and I had a look, and straight away it almost blew me away just looking at the alignments that she had. So we're going to do a bit of a quick run through. So I want to start when I look for people who make very significant impacts on the world, but have this really underlying drive, or this ability to lean into tension or conflict and use it as a creative, transformative channel. One thing I look for is this balance between, I guess, supportive or harmonizing aspects, but also quote unquote difficult aspects. So if we look at Sophie's chart, and we'll put some visuals up for this, one thing you can see is a series of quite close trines, so sort of 120-degree angles, but then also a really amazingly precise T-square. So this is one of the most tightest, most, I guess, intense, most well-aligned T-squares I've ever seen. So a T-square is when you have an opposition between two planets, so they're 180 degrees apart, and then splitting the difference between those two is another planet, which makes a square. So it makes a square to both planets. So you have an opposition and then a square, and so you have a triangle T-square. And so Sophie has Jupiter and Uranus, Jupiter in the first house, opposing Uranus in the seventh house. So Jupiter in the first house is someone who's fundamentally an expansive personality, always looking beyond the horizons that's in front of them, always seeking to elevate whatever they come into contact with. And their self, their personality, is fundamentally dignified, hopeful, optimistic, and just always trying to enlarge in things. And then you have an opposition to Uranus in the seventh house, which is to do with relationships. So very revolutionary, progressive, liberative approach towards relationships. And then splitting the difference is her moon. Her moon is basically the T-square is within 1 degree, so it's really tight. But her moon, and the ancient astrology will have a lot to say about this, her moon is exactly conjunct the fixed star Aldebaran, which is part of the, I guess, the cardinal cross of fixed stars. So Aldebaran, Antares, Fomalhaut, and then Regulus. And her moon is conjunct Aldebaran to 1 minute of 1 degree. So you basically can't have anything closer than that. And
wow.
Yeah, it's an incredible alignment. So you have her moon, which is the apex, the release point of this T-square. So with a T-square, it's this polarity, and then it's a point of tension. But the point of tension, the apex of the T-square, is where we find release, where we have an outlet. And so this is her moon. In the 10th house, reputation, career, what we're known for, the part of it which is most visible and which we gain, notoriety from. Her moon, emotions, her need to nurture, her need to offer protection, emotional nourishment, this maternal sort of figure. Exactly conjunct Aldebaran, one of the most powerful, significant, but also fortunate, I guess, fixed stars. So in the Vedic tradition, Aldebaran is in the nakshatra of Rohini, and Rohini is the most favored wife of the moon, I guess. So with the nakshatras, they're 27, and they represent 27 wives that the moon passes through over a month. And Rohini is the most favored wife, or the most fortunate nakshatra. So that's where her moon is, right there. This point of release of a T-square conjunct Aldebaran in the 10th house, just an incredibly powerful, almost hard to describe how powerful an alignment this is. So that's the fundamental point of like creative tension in her personality, but she needs to release it through this moon, through this fortunate, powerful moon in the 10th house. So this is like this energy that's driving her forward in her life. It's going to be provocative. It's going to be hugely, what's the word I'm looking for here? Giving her notoriety to an extreme level, I guess. But then we looked at some other things that's going on in her chart. So she has Neptune conjunct her ascendant to 3 degrees. So Neptune gives this dreaminess, this imaginative, intuitive energy towards everything that we do. So having a planet conjunct the ascendant, that becomes the archetypal filter of our personality. So everything that she does has this dreaminess to it, but this sort of almost this intoxication or this transcendent nature to it that almost, you'd see her or hear her or you'd read about what she's doing, and it's like it's elevating or transcending the everyday. It's like this insight into something which is beyond the mundane or beyond the everyday world. Everything she does has this Neptunian energy sort of wrapped up in it, in how it's delivered. So it's very powerful at engaging people's imaginations and giving them a sense of something lying beyond the mundane, beyond the everyday. So we have that dynamic going on as well. Then we have these trines. So firstly, she has her sun in the 10th house as well, right at the top of the sky, conjunct Mercury. So very ease of communication, but then that's almost exactly trine Saturn. So Sun, Saturn, trine, and basically to the degree. So this is a trine to about 6 or 7 minutes or 1 degree, so really tight. We think Sun, Saturn are the two timekeepers, I like to call. So like Saturn in mythology is the lord of time, Kronos, the beginning and the end of everything. And then the sun is literally what we orientate our collective lives around, collective and also personal lives, because it's, it is the timekeeper in our lives. So we have this really, Sun, Saturn is people you can set your watch to. Very disciplined, very consistent in what they do. That's how I imagine this sort of Sun, Saturn dynamic manifesting. But her Saturn is 2 degrees conjunct the Dedavola, which is the tail of the lion, which is about devotion, companionship, reliability, and endurance in sort of partnerships and marriage. So a very reliable, a very devoted, a very committed placement. So you can see then, this is a very serious person, very responsible, but very consistent. So it has the ability to release this energy in a very powerful way, but in a very consistent and meaningful way and serious way. There's so much going on here. And then she has her lunar nodes. So this is sort of our life path, where we sort of this underlying trajectory of her life. They're exactly conjunct with her midheaven and her IC. So this sort of the personal, private axis of our chart. She has her lunar node axis exactly conjunct that axis. And then she has her Venus in the 9th house conjunct the south node Ketu. So there's this karmic energy. The south node is what we bring with us. So there's this karmic energy tied into her Venus, her feminine self. So she's sort of drawing on the past, drawing on this past life karmic energy to bring her, to inspire her, to give her purpose and meaning in her current life incarnation. So yeah, there's this sort of karmic undertone to everything that she does as well, especially anything to do with her feminine self, how she expresses her values, her core values, her desires, her need for relationships, even her need for romance. I'm interested to know what her romantic life was like. So I imagine there'd be a lot of karmic, heavy sort of karmic energy towards her relationships, and her romantic, especially her romantic relationships as well. Yes, there's an incredible amount going on. So there's this Saturn-Sun trine, but then also a trine between Pluto and Uranus as well. That sort of adds this revolutionary, the intense revolutionary energy to her personality as well. We could go on forever. I feel like I've rambled enough about that. But just, yeah, so much going on there. Hits a lot of really key fixed stars, as I said. So Aldebaran, Saturn conjunct Denebola, Jupiter conjunct Zosma. Yeah, amazing. Just an amazing amount going on. So hopefully we've given you a bit of an insight there, just to see with these really transformative, powerful, and as Colin said, these martyr-like figures, how you can really see in their astrology how these archetypes start to come out, and how you can see the power of these people, the archetypal power of these people, and where they're drawing this power and this energy from to change the world in such amazingly provocative, but also long-lasting and enduring ways, I guess, as well. So yeah.
We hope you enjoyed the reading. Isaac and I have procured 6 individual points of your celestial star reading, unfolding over each month by joining our Patreon.
Each month, you will receive an ongoing, personalized astrology and tarot reading, allowing you to unearth the archetypal forces, curses, and blessings impacting your life.
Rise from the ashes. Regulus readings.